Hi everyone, and welcome to my entry into Joachim and Moss's reconnaissance group build. I'm going to be building Dragon's 1/35th scale Aufklarungspanzer, which means reconnaissance panzer, and this is one of 70 vehicles that were built by the Germans and sent to the Eastern Front in the latter stages of the Second World War. Now, I've done a full review of the kit, so I just wanted to touch on some parts that I'm going to be doing within the build. As you can see here, I'm taking out the Magic Link tracks and I'm going to be replacing them with metal full tracks. You have two bags, the left and the right links, and it also gives you a full metal sprocket set as well, which is really nicely detailed and accurate as well. I decided to actually use the plastic parts because there isn't really any difference between the two, probably zero point 0.1 or zero point 0.2 of a millimeter. As you can see here, I'm just doing a comparison with the plastic parts. I did try a length of link around the plastic parts and it fitted fine. So as we all know, pink goes on plastic better than it does on metal. So I actually decided to stick with the plastic parts themselves, as they are really nicely detailed themselves. However, we'll just have a look in a little bit more detail. So if you decide to go with the metal option yourself, then you know that they are a nice set of sprockets here for you. As for the links, very nicely detailed. Each link has actually got a little number on them. There's a little bit of flash on one side that will require cleaning up, and obviously cleaning out the holes for where the wire pins will be going as well. But for metal tracks, it's not too bad to clean up. Now, this is the Achilles heel of these sets of tracks because you have pins on one side but not on the other. So you have to cut all these individual pins off and then add them to the track after you put the link in. And it's a real ball ache to the extent I'm probably not going to do all of them because it is getting me down a little bit. But here's the instructions showing you how it needs to be done. And we also have the ordinary instructions as well, showing you how to put together full tracks. But if you're inexperienced on doing full tracks, there are plenty of how-to videos on YouTube. Now, this photograph shows you how small this model is going to be. It's about the same size as an ordinary Panzer one. The actual base is nicely detailed. And the first thing is we need to do is to put in the flooring. However, as you can see, there's no real area that is shown where it has to go. So if you put in the engine and front wall, you can actually see it goes in the lock, and that is your guide, so you know where exactly the actual plastic part goes. And this actually represents a wooden mesh mat. As you can see here, this is a larger scale. Each of the holes are drilled out. I'm not going to be doing it on plastic parts, it's too small a scale, and I'll just use some clever painting. Now, here are the actual seats, and here are the transmission parts, and also the larger part of the transmission. And this gives you an idea of all of the actual detail that you will get from this particular kit. Now, it's not too bad, but there is plenty of scope to actually do some more detailing. And in this first part of the video, I'm actually going to show all of the extra scratch building and extra parts that I put in, and also the research photos that I used. The problem is there are no photos of the inside of this Panzer. So we have to look at the 38T and sort of adapt those pictures to the ones that are used on this particular Panzer. Now, as you can see, the actual walls are somewhat smaller than the 38T, so we can't get all of the detailing on, and there will be a little bit of artistic license on my part to decide what I wish to put in as detailing. So if we take everything out, and what we're going to do, we're going to start at the very front, and this is some of the information that I was able to glean from the reference material. This is purely for information purposes only, and it gives you an idea of the internal shots of the actual 38T. Now, the rhombus ammunition bins, they will have to be replaced because obviously the ammunition is different with this particular tank. For example, also there, the fire extinguisher that's on the outside of this particular tank. And here we have some more ammo bins for the MG as well. And there's also turret details, which obviously we won't be entertaining because there is no turret on this particular vehicle. But I thought I'd enclose all of the reference material so anyone else following along, it's an easy reference for yourselves as well. But that was the one good thing about this project. I did have lots of reference material for which I could work from, and that enabled me to do some basic extra detailing just to add some more interest. So we're going to be starting with the foot pedals at the front. The driver's pedals, there were three of them all together. So I just built simple support and then using plastic card strip added on the foot pedals themselves. As for the seats, I added on some photo etch belts and extended the ratchet system using plasticard. Quite a simple process. Now there is a leather pad by the driver, which I'm assuming is for extra protection. This part is actually in the kit, which I didn't realise until I'd actually scratch built it. This is the actual lever for one of the controls that was added on again using a bit of pewter at the end on the bit of a piece of plastic strip. As for the actual engine panel itself, there were some details I wanted to add on here. You can actually drill out all of the spaces if you wanted, but I just did the one and added on some photo etch mesh. As you can see here, there was a little tool above and just some little offcuts of plastic card for covers and for handles, etc., just to add a little bit of extra interest and a bit more accuracy on this particular panel. Now, the other thing was there were some little bins that the MG spares went in, and it was just a matter of cutting off some plastic rod, sanding that down to shape, and then we used some plastic strip along each of the edges to make it look that it was in some sort of box holder, and again some photo etch straps from the spares box, and a 0.8mm pewter rivet. And as you can see, those make a lovely addition to the wall. Now, there are lots of ammo bins within the tank, so it's a matter of using some plastic card. I also had a photo etch stencil that allowed me to make the holes using a pencil as locating points, as you can see there. And then I used two different drills, a small one to start the hole off, and then a larger one to finish the hole off with. I have to be very careful to make sure the plastic card doesn't strip. So I'm only using 0.25 to try and keep the scale down. And then if we put in a very sharp scalpel knife, then we're able to take off any excess plastic. And then we insert it into the hole as well to help that out. Now, a great addition to your tools is for Lord files. I have a square one and a circular one. Now, these go through knife like butter, so you have to be very careful with using them. But these are an ideal tool to do that final cleanup of each of the holes. As you can see, what a difference that makes. And then finally, we clean it all up by using some Tamiya thin. And I was quite pleased with how they all turned out. So altogether, we had four ammo pins for the MG magazines. And each of those were made and then added to the interior. This is a little box for the medical supplies that was put on the actual wall side panel, and that again was used from plastic card and plastic strip. These are the actual MG ammo cases, very basic because you're not going to see them really. So that was just using the plastic card and strip again. Now, as far as the left-hand wall goes, there are the ammo bins that I decided to make for the ammunition, which is somewhat different to the drawings, because obviously the ammunition is different to this particular tank than it is to the 38T. You'll also see the well beam going across, and at the very bottom there, there's another box that was made using the photo etch this time to represent the holes, as I'm pretty much fed up by then of making those stencils. Now we also need to put some gear in for the radio sets. So we have all of the relevant pieces, and then it was a matter of using some Tamiya wire and also some Tamiya tape to make joins, as you can see at the bottom of that picture. And then those were put into place, and it got quite an effective how it looked. And that will connect up to the radio set that is in the portion of the build further up. As for the actual transmission, there is a photo that shows that each side there should be plastic guards. So those were made out of 0.25 thin strip, cut into shape, and then glued and bent into place. And then I added on some 0.5 rivets, and I was really pleased with how that turned out. It was quite realistic to how they should actually look. And I'll just leave you some photos so you can see that in more detail. And that really was most of the detailing done. So as we go around, you can see how it's all fitting into place now. So like I say, the kit came with quite a good basic interior, but as you can see, there's easy enough ways to be able to improve and to enhance the actual look. So that just leaves me to say a massive thank you to everyone who's popped in to have a look at the start of this particular project. Many thanks to my subscribers, old and new, for your continued support of my work. And in the meantime, happy modelling.